Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be starting a new series covering everything I'm going to be doing to build my deadlift to 200 kgs. So let's get started. A couple weeks ago I loaded 200 kgs on the bar. I'd never done it before. I'd never even loaded that amount of weight on the bar before, but I wanted to see where I could get it to. And I hit my same sticking point that I always seemed to get stuck at right before lockout. What I notice with my deadlifts time and time again is this continuously tends to be my main sticking point. I will oftentimes incorporate variations. I'll work at those and then I'll move through. But when you look at my deadlift, it may come across as a lockout issue, but really it is a starting position issue for me, because when you watch back the video, you can see my starting position when I'm coming off the floor has a lot of movement in it. I'm shifting out of position, and this happens at weights usually above 182.5, so within 7.5 kgs of my PB. So I would assume my sticking point is my lockout, and it is, but what I actually need to work on to move through that sticking point is actually work on my starting position, because what happens is I'm falling forward, I'm losing lat engagement, I'm rushing off the ground, and I am coming off really quickly because I'm using a lot of pull. But then when I get to above my knees, it sets me up for failure because I'm holding that position for quite some time, but I don't have the positioning to lock the bar out. What I'm needing to work on to reach this 200 kg milestone is work on my positioning off the floor, because when I attempted that 200 kilos, to me it didn't feel so much as a strength issue. It felt like I was just too far forward to complete the lockout. So what I'm wanting to do is fix my starting position. So I'm going into train today and I'm going to be doing my variation deadlift day, which is focusing on tempo. So I'm going to run through that when we get to the gym, and I'm also going to run through some of the accessories that I'm going to be focusing on to help with the starting position as well. And over time I'm going to be working on this and eventually lock out 200 kilos. Tempo deadlifts is going to teach me not only to slow down in my setup, but also teach me to hold positioning, because it's going to make it a lot harder off the floor. So today we're going to be doing doubles, working up to an RPE 7, so it's going to get pretty heavy today, and we're going to be practicing that tempo from the floor up until my sticking point, which is around just above the knee here. So let's go. So adding in these variations, I add these into my program whenever I find myself struggling with a certain sticking point. So there are variations that can help target certain sticking points, and some of my favorite variations that help with positioning off the floor are deficit deadlifts, paused an inch off the floor deadlifts, tempo deadlifts, snatch grip deadlifts. So I'm going to be usually try and pick one of these for my secondary deadlift day. So this is my second deadlift day this week, and I make my second deadlift day a day where I can focus on technique. So I usually have one heavy standard deadlift day and one more technical day. So today's that technique focused day. I'll be bringing in some tempo deadlifts. So my last set was about an RP 4 to 5. So I'm estimating this is probably going to be about an RPE 5 to 6. So yeah, it's definitely hard to tell what the RPE is because you can't really base it off speed like you usually would. But I would say that's probably about, sorry, one of my members, an RPE, 6. So I probably do about 4 more. So I've cranked it up to 150. I'm going to be watching my hips from the side and making sure that there's no shifting whatsoever, all the way up until my sticking point. Then I bring in speed and a really fast lockout. I've added this in and not had a tempo throughout the whole entirety of the movement because I want to practice pushing through my sticking point as well, kind of merge those two focuses together. When I watched back that video, I could definitely see my hips were remaining really beautifully locked in position, and I had the same positioning off the floor all the way to lockout. I'm going to push it up a little bit more to 155 kilos now. I think I would like to focus on not having my chest up too much as I come down to the bar. I'm going to be focusing on that in the next set, but yeah, I'm really happy with these, and I'm excited to see how they help me moving forward with my deadlifts. When there's no room for rushing off the floor, I can't really cheat my way through the starting position, and that's exactly what I'm wanting to retrain me and retrain my starting position moving forward. And I'm selecting these variations. I'm wanting to pick something that's going to expose my weakness and retrain it. It's going to make it a lot harder, which is going to make me work a little bit harder to keep that positioning, and it's going to make it a lot easier when I move back to my standing conventional deadlift to maintain my new positioning. Some of the things that I've put into my plan to help with my off the floor positioning of accessories that are going to target my upper back, my hamstrings, and even my core to help support my bracing. Just wait for them to finish. These are the sort of things that I'm going to be hitting in my deadlift focus accessories, and I've spread them out throughout the week to make sure that I'm not overly fatiguing any particular muscle group, but I'm hitting each of them throughout the week in a good amount of volume as well. Because I'm doing 5 sessions a week, I try and spread them out across the 5 sessions because I don't really want to cook myself for the next session, especially when I'm doing oftentimes 2 days in a row, and that's going to impact my compound work. So starting to superset a lot more. I need to improve my work capacity, and I also need to just improve my ability to recover in between sets. On the platform, powerlifting is really long in terms of the training, and I'm wanting to pour more time into running my business, and I don't want to be spending like 3 hours on a training session. My focus for the month, we got this thing on the mirror, is basically being like, what's your intention for the last month of the year? And so I put mine up as make it undeniable, which I feel like kind of represents a whole bunch of things. It's not just the standard of lifting being undeniable, it can also just be like being consistent, how you show up, the energy you bring. If you're ticking all the boxes, then it's undeniable that you're going to progress and get the results. So that was my secondary deadlift day, and I'm actually really pleased with what I did today. One thing about deadlifts that I love is that it's such a technical lift, and I've been deadlifting for 7 years now. It's actually, I think, my 7-year anniversary this month. I started deadlifting in November 2018, so yeah, it will be pretty much exactly 7 years. I was so scared to deadlift for the first time because I knew it was super technical and I didn't want to muck it up. I didn't want to hurt my back or anything like that. I just fell in love. It definitely wasn't pretty the very first time that I did them, and yeah, I was already a PT at that point, and even then I was super nervous. So I always think back to those moments, like when I have clients who are learning deadlifts for the first time. It's definitely super nerve-wracking. Like, I was a PT myself and I still found them super scary. I just fell in love with them, and I think the reason why I love deadlifting is because there's nothing more empowering to me than picking up something super heavy off the floor and standing up with it. And yeah, so I've been doing them 7 years, and one thing I do really love about deadlifts is they are super technical. So I always feel, even though I've been doing them for a long time, like I've never truly mastered the technique of them. Like, I always have things to work on, and so like my deadlift form will be pretty perfect up until a certain weight, and then I need to find the fault or sticking point and the variation or program around what needs to be inputted to fix it, and then I need to execute, and then I usually find that top end where my form breaks down shifts up. I find that really exciting. It's very easy to look at someone who has a bigger deadlift and think to yourself, I'll never be able to lift that much. But you'd really be surprised if you dedicate yourself for years on end to something, you can be that person too. It's really important with powerlifting or deadlifting or just getting stronger in general that you learn the art of patience. Like, I have been deadlifting for so long. I've spent years mastering my deadlift, pouring my heart and soul into this lift, deadlifting twice a week. I could probably count on 1 to 2 hands in those 7 years the amount of weeks or time that I've actually spent off focusing on my deadlift. And so yeah, it takes patience and it takes time to show up continuously, and for me it's really a long time game. Like, I do try to put rough time frames on my deadlift and what I want to achieve in that time, but also I know that I'm eventually going to get there. If I continuously show up and put in effort, it's, like I said, it's undeniable that I will eventually get there. And yeah, there have been times I've hit plateaus for really long periods of time. I've had to figure out what's needed to push me to that next level. I think that's the fun and beauty of lifting, and that is the journey of progression. The day that you plant the seeds and water the seeds is not the day you harvest. So lifting and fat loss are very much the same, where you could be grinding for weeks on end, but if you continuously show up, eventually you will see the progress. And sometimes it's up and down. That's me. I am gonna go and pick up some food now, but if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a comment and like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.